Welcome to the Limitless Ladies Network podcast, where we are limitless in sharing lessons to advocate and drive insightful, empathetic self-care. The Limitless Ladies Network is dedicated to nourishing minds, educating on self-care, and facilitating transformative experiences. Please note that the information and opinions shared on this podcast are for educational purposes only and are not intended in any way to be used as medical advice. Please seek a medical professional for any health-related matters, and always refer to our full disclosure in our show notes. Hello, and welcome to today's episode. I would like to share with you a little story about depression today and menopause. Sometimes it just hits you out of the blue and you have no idea why you're dealing with depression. And a lot of it can just be related to our hormones, of course, because our estrogen, our progesterone, all of those things just kind of go for a nosedive, it seems, as we get older. And it helps us, well, it doesn't help us to actually regulate our moods sometimes. So I wanted to share with you 5 tips that you could use to help when you do encounter something related to depression, like I did today. Beautiful day outside, but yet I was struggling for whatever reason. Could have been an astrological event happening. And it totally just made me like in a depressed mode. So a couple things I wanted to share. One thing that can really help with this, number 1, is to get outside in the morning for 10 to 15 minutes first thing in the morning. Why does this help? Nature is healing, so you get to hear the birds, especially nowadays. It's actually really beautiful, and that's exactly what I did today. I sat outside in the warm sun. I got to feel the sun on my skin. That made me happy. I got to just close my eyes for a few minutes, listen to the birds chirping all around me, and it just instantly kind of helped to alleviate some of the anxiety that I had going on in my gut. So 10 to 15 minutes, ideally first thing in the morning, but if that's not always possible, then really any time during the day is always helpful, because sunlight actually helps us to feel more alert and improves our mood and our concentration. And it helps with our circadian rhythm as well. So if we could get out in the morning again, ideally, just because we need a lot of sleep and we need to be awake for a certain period of time, typically about 16 hours or so. So if we can get out there first thing in the morning, that's great. If not, get out in the morning or even in the afternoon, just because you'll be able to see the shifts in daylight and have your body move into that calming state. Because it'll also help you fall asleep at night because you've reset your circadian rhythm. The other big one is to say no. Not always easy for us women to do, is to set some boundaries. Sometimes we get a little overwhelmed, and I think that was the issue for me today. I was just thinking of all the things that I had going on and how I was going to try to navigate doing all of these multiple different things and have the time, because time is a commodity and we can't make any more of it, really, at least not that I know of. So if we sometimes say no to things, then it allows us to be able to know that we are honoring our time and we are only really focusing on those things that are most important to us. So I highly suggest that if you have this trouble like I did today, then you can simply just sit down quietly for a couple of minutes, write down all the things that you're really anxious about or that you are committed to doing, and see, is there something that I need to get rid of? And maybe it's more than one thing. Maybe it is a couple things that you need to be able to say, I appreciate the offer, but no thank you, I'm going to pass this time. That is totally okay to do, because it will help you to save your brain's capacity and also not to allow you to feel too overwhelmed in this process. Tip number 3, take a break. Sounds kind of like tip number 1 and almost like tip number 2, but the taking a break could literally just be that you sit quietly. Walk away from whatever anxiety or whatever area or environment that you might be in, if possible. Maybe it's not possible. You do have control over your own body, so you can just sit in a space for 5 to 10 minutes quietly. Just focus on your breathing. Navy SEALs and a lot in the military will do box breathing. You literally breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4, 3, 4, release for 4, and then hold at the bottom for 4. And repeat that cycle for, a couple of minutes. And you'll notice that you're able to breathe a little easier. Your parasympathetic nervous system will allow for that to kind of settle in and all your organs hopefully to relax a little bit as well. You can also do a body scan. Just sit there and think about what's happening through your brain. Not really thinking what's happening in your brain, but what are you hearing? What are you smelling? Are you tasting anything? Did you recently eat something? How do you feel? How does your skin feel? Are you feeling hot and sweaty, which is very common with menopause, right? We love that. No, we don't. So those types of things that you can do by taking a break. No judgment at all when you do this. If you're going to be, sitting quietly and, also writing things down is always a great thing because it kind of gets it out of your head and onto paper. It kind of releases it through that process energetically. So you could give that a whirl as well. Tip number 4, explore a little bit of your diet. As you have some anxiety, depression, things like that, it could very well be the things that you're actually consuming. So are you eating a very high processed diet, or are you eating something that is healthier for you? They do say that a Mediterranean diet is one diet that has been kind of linked to the less Alzheimer's and any age-related issues like depression. Very common. You also want to eat a lot of protein. Protein helps us to feel satiated, which means we stay full, and it doesn't let us continuously get overwhelmed in terms of thinking with our mind racing about another snack to have because we didn't eat the right foods. So we might want to consider bumping up the protein, which can be great. You can have a protein shake. You can have a protein bar. You can have a deviled egg. You could have yourself a nice, I don't eat bread, but a sandwich maybe with some really good tuna, anything like that. Good proteins that you can actually build into your diet is really important because as we get older, women, we actually need a lot of protein because we lose a lot of muscle mass. That declines quite rapidly as we get older too. Then you get hip fractures. We don't want that. So highly suggest that you do about 1.7 to 2 grams of protein, which sounds like a lot. It's probably about 2 palm sizes of protein for you to consume per meal, which actually seems like a lot, but it's a good way to measure because not everybody's walking around with a scale, right? I like the palms. So try to boost up your protein, eat lots of green leafy vegetables, anything that's high in a lot of color, which is great. So you can get your beets is another good thing to eat. Those particular things will help to boost up your memory, your focus, and improve the blood flow that's going to our brain. And we all need some of that. And tip number 5, last but not least, which you may not have even thought about, is creatine. Creatine is kind of everywhere. It's a powder, and usually most of us will think of creatine as being a bodybuilder's kind of go-to so that they can build their muscles. Well, it's kind of been researched quite a bit, and creatine really does help build muscles, which again, we need. So it is good to try to give it a whirl and see if creatine would be beneficial. Of course, you should check with your doctor before making any changes to your diet, even if you're switching to the Mediterranean diet, right? Check those with your healthcare provider. In terms of creatine, usually a daily dose of about, 5 to 7 grams is usually pretty good. But creatine has been found to help stunt aging. So we do like that. I've been taking creatine. in my protein shake, and a little bit in my coffee as well. You don't want it to be too hot, but it's a good way to mix it in there. If you don't do protein shakes, that is. So it stunts aging and any hormone related muscle and bone loss, because again, we lose that bone loss along with the muscle mass. So those are 5 kind of simple and easy tips when you have depression that you're dealing with due to your fluctuation in hormones, which menopause, gives to us, whether we like it or not. So try these simple tips. Leave a comment. Let me know if any of them worked for you. It certainly worked for me today because I was not in the best of moods today for whatever reason, but getting outside in the sun really did help. So leave us a comment. Be sure to click the bell button to subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, also on LinkedIn. And check out the rest of our videos as well. And our website, limitlessladiesnetwork.com, where you can sign up for our email list and find out when we're going to be hosting some women's empowerment gatherings to talk about things like setting boundaries and how we can come together as a community and really support each other.